get out of your way, Bethany, and I'm going to have you show us one of your favorite spin moves.
Can I show you two?
Yeah, show me your two favorite spin moves.
Look back on.
Also known as
I love doing jumps without holding on to my handlebars.
Okay, it's super safe.
So safe. So you lift and you drop. You know why I can do this? Because my core is so out of control.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now show me your second favorite spin
And then my favorite core work on the bike is where you drop back into hover, you send that arm back.
You send it back.
Send it back.
You send it back. Oh, and
you
the
send it.
triceps.
And my core is solid.
Solid. All right, you guys. So I hope that you know right away that we're kidding. Those are not moves that we suggest that you do on the bike. The topic of the day in this vlog, where we have 4 trainers who all just happen to be here working out, because that's what we do.
Well, not me.
The topic is controversial indoor cycling or spinning moves. Yeah. So I'll tell you that this stemmed from a question that came to us from Sophie Boutin from Quebec. Right?
Yes.
And she said, sometimes I can't keep up with trainers when they're doing push-up, drop-back, or push-ups on the bike too quickly. And I was like, oh, okay. So that doesn't mean that some of these moves, the ones that Bethany just did, absolutely no, please don't do those.
No.
But there are some moves that I would call controversial, maybe not approved by the originators of spinning, that are probably okay to do on the bike that won't hurt you. I used to personally, girls, do a lot more, well, not exactly like you're doing, but a lot more kind of non-traditional spinning moves on the bike than I do now. I do a lot less now because I've found ways to kind of master the class without having to do those to keep it interesting. So let's talk about some moves that you guys have seen, and we'll just give you our opinion on them. And that's really all we can do is give you our opinion, okay? Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. Our opinion, you're watching this, so you must want our opinion. Okay, all right, so what are some moves that, Meredith, that you've seen?
Isolations.
Isolations, okay.
Same with me.
So in other words, an isolation, I don't have shoes on. Beth, can you demo?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's where I call it keeping the body very, very quiet.
Quiet, tall.
All right, give us your opinion.
For me, I don't do it because it actually bothers my knees. So you'll never see it in my class because it bothers my knees. It may, for others, that may be fine, but yeah, for me, I don't do it because it bothers my knees. So
and if it bothers your knees, it probably
that's why I'm fearful that it's going to bother somebody else's knees. And when I do have people that I already know in my class have knee issues, I'm not going to put them through that, or even because a lot of times too in class they're kind of like, oh, as you said with Sophie, like wanting to keep up, and that's, I don't want somebody to be like, oh, I need to keep up with them, and even though my knees are bothering me. So.
Brooke, what do you think?
I agree with Meredith because I never do isolations ever in my class.
Same issue.
Hurts my knees. Yes.
Hurts your knees. Well, and you guys know what you're doing, so if it hurts your knees, it's probably going to hurt other people's knees as well.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Okay.
There's the controversy. No, I'm okay with it. I think it works. The quad's great. I can feel it in my core. Honestly, I feel it in my core. My quads are on fire. My glutes are on fire. I won't do it for a long stretch of time, maybe like 15 seconds at most, and then we're moving on. But
so what do you tell, knowing what they just said, what would you tell people in class if you were doing an isolation, like as the one leading the class, if you slowed it down like that, what would you?
We go super slow when we do the isolation. And honestly, if somebody's knees are bothering them and I know about it, I will tell them not to do the isolation.
But what if you don't know about it? I guess that's my, and we're having a very candid conversation here, so just bear with us, and I'm not going to have you cut this.
I always tell people, if I take someone else's class and they do isolations, I say, just letting you know, I'm not going to do them.
Yeah.
They hurt my knees, I'll run, or like a standing flat, what we call that too in spinning, just, hands right here, and you just go for a run. That's what I call it.
Go for a run on your bike. Yeah.
Go for a run on your bike. Another controversial one is the hover back position.
We'll get to that next.
Well, I was just going to say, like some people I know in my class, like I'll know straight up if they've got a bad lower back. If they do, I'll tell them to either stay upright or don't go as deep into the hover. So I mean, part of that is communicating your injuries and your body's needs with your instructor.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I would suggest, though, to the other spinning instructors out there, and to people that are taking these classes, whether it be at home or in a studio or gym setting, if anything, just like these girls are saying, if anything you're told to do bothers your knees, bothers your back, bothers you at all, go back to your traditional roots, okay? which means, you know, when you're standing, your body's kind of in that V position, hips over the front of the seat, chest lifted, you know, all the basics. Check out the beginner spinner video that we have out there, and it'll kind of walk you guys through that. On the isolation, it does hurt a ton of people's knees, and as trainers, I think that you should make sure, even if you don't know there's a problem, to give a shout out saying, hey, I'm gonna slow down for a second, like Bethany decides to do. I'm gonna slow down and isolate. Say why you're doing it, and then also say, you know, that if it is bothering you at all, just don't do it. Just go back to a traditional stand every time you do it. Okay, let's talk about the hover, because this is gonna be a long video otherwise. But hovering is another probably the most controversial, because it's the most common, I think, that you'll see. Okay, okay, Bethany, start. Hover.
You want me to demo the hover?
Sure.
So
it's going to be hard for you to see.
Demo hover, right here. My seat is too high, but that's okay. So basically,
look at me.
Thanks, Brookie. No, honestly, but a lot of times that just like really, it kind of is another form of an isolation, I guess. It isolates the glutes, makes them work, makes you work your hamstring on the pole if you can focus on that. I do it. I like it. I kind of like it if I'm in
I think her nickname's going to be Miss Controversy.
I like it.
Yeah.
But I honestly feel like, too, if you're in a deep climb, it's kind of, you know, sometimes you get into this position when you're climbing to rock back just a little bit further to hit another group of muscles. I'm okay with it.
I think it's using another group of muscles. I think that it's controversial to call it a hover because it's kind of a negative. It's been known as a negative term, negative position to be in. Because it can close. Don't be so neg. Okay, it can close off your lungs, and a lot of people are
because they go
rounding
more
their
this
backs,
position.
and you know, it's one of those things. If you can't do it right, don't do it at all. I don't ever use the word hover or say hover. I will say drop back a little bit deeper. I just think it gets people in a better body position if you say, okay, now we're gonna shift back just a little bit to engage the glutes a little bit more so that you can power into your climb using the biggest muscle grip in your body, which is your glutes, right? So I would recommend not using the word hover personally, trainers out there. If you hear it,
Guilty.
What's that?
I said guilty.
Guilty. Well, that's because we grew up in the spinning world hearing the word hover, where it makes a lot of spinning instructors like quiver when they hear that word. So just be careful as a trainer with the terminology that you use, because for a lot of people what that means is let's collapse our lungs and round our back.
Fun. Sounds like fun.
Good times. Good times. So
struggle to get that air in.
So that's what I would suggest to you ladies and to you trainers out there, you spin instructors out there too, is that you avoid using the word hover. And if you are going to go into that, like I say, drop back position, just explain what you're doing as far as the body position, and don't call it a hover, you know. So anyways, so you guys use it as well.
Yeah. Occasionally, yeah.
I'm trying to switch into that slide your hips back, because I think that helps somebody, instead of just saying hover where they might leave their hips forward a little bit and just try and drop their chest down, that if you're saying slide the hips back, they're actively thinking, oh, okay, it's not just my chest that comes down.
Totally.
So,
yeah. And then, like Bethany was saying, the idea behind the drop back is to just recruit the glutes a little bit more. And that was one of my favorite sayings I think I stole from Brooke, recruit the glutes, you know. So I don't think it's a bad thing to do. I just think it needs to be done right.
And honestly, too, when we all went through our certifications, they were very strict in saying, if you cannot do this on your road bike outside, then it shouldn't be done in a spin class. And I've tried to stick to that a little bit. Like, I'm not a huge like jumps advocate. Like, I don't love jumps, but it's mainly because I don't want to count them. Well, you know, and that's basically it. But I know that they're great. They have their place in a spin class, but when we were all certified, the goal was if you can't do it on your road bike, don't do it in the spin class.
That's not true when it comes to jumps, though. Jumps are in the I won't say that who we're certified through, but jumps are in the manual.
True.
Which means that I wouldn't call jumps a controversial spin move. I would call fast jumps a controversial
Up, down.
Yeah. They should be controlled. So, and I have taken a lot of spin classes, and I know you guys have too, where it's up, down, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6.
I just feel bad for the guys.
And their voice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. Yeah, so jumps are not, in my book, they're not a controversial spin move. How you do them.
How about those around the world?
So, Around the world? I don't know.
Oh, okay. They're hilarious.
The last one's push-ups on the bike. That is definitely one that is in most people's, most certified spin instructors, not okay to do, but it's a very, there's a company out there that does these on a regular basis, and it's cool and it's fun. All I'll say is, you know, I'm not going to say I'm an advocate for them, but at the same time, I've never seen anyone getting hurt doing a, you know, kind of drop into the arms a little bit and then drop into the hips a little bit. So I've never seen anybody get hurt doing them. I don't know if you guys have. And I mean, not during the class only, but even, you know, talking to everybody afterwards, I've never seen anybody get hurt doing them. So
I think that's the bottom line. Like, don't get hurt. Don't be dumb. You know, like keep it in that, keep it smart.
Yeah, keep all the movements controlled.
Yeah,
I think that's true too. So, so anyway, so her question was, you know, going back to the original question, the question was, you know, what do I do if I can't keep up? If you can't keep up, slow it down and add some resistance. If it's hurting your body, don't do it at all, okay? All right, girls, anything else that we can add?
Nope.
That's good.
Okay, thanks for joining us today, you guys. And don't forget, for the most amazing workouts out there, Studio Sweat on Demand.